All right, welcome to today's discussion. We have just entered the second half of the DV 2022 program, and as we saw in our last video, the numbers are actually improving. This is the very first time since the beginning of this fiscal year that we have seen very high numbers of cases that are ready for interview for a number of weeks running. This confirms what we saw in our last video, that the number of interview notifications were actually on the rise. But that is not all. There is something spectacular that happened last week when it comes to Diversity Visa 2022 interviews, as we will see in our comparison table. This is a comparison table that shows visa issuances in the DV 2022 program at different times of the fiscal year. As usual, we have our regions in this first column, followed by visa issuance during the first quarter. We have already seen this in a number of previous videos. A total of 208 visas were issued during the first quarter. Fast forwarded to the end of the second quarter, that is on April 1st, 2022, the situation is as follows. The Africa region on that date had been issued 2,159 visas, Asia 1,019, Europe 3,393, and then these are the numbers for the smaller regions. And this brings the total of visas that were issued by the 1st of April 2022 to 6,999. That is about 7,000 visas were issued during the first half of this program year. Now, what I want you to look at here is this number that is in red. It is actually the total number of visas that were issued during the second quarter. Compare this number to what we have for the first quarter, and you will see that it confirms what we said in our last video, that there was not much effort put into the DV 2022 program during the first quarter. Only 208 visas were issued as compared to 6,791 that were issued during the second quarter, which shows that there has been a turnaround in the DV 2022 program, and that change came toward the end of the second quarter, that is close to the middle of the fiscal year. Now, what is even more striking is what we experienced during the course of last week. Can you imagine that within the course of last week alone, 282 visas were issued to the Africa region, 242 to the Asia region, 416 to Europe, 21 to Oceania, and then 36 to South America, bringing the total to 997 visas. About 1,000 visas were issued during the course of last week. That is the first week in the second half of the fiscal year. This is another clear indication that things have really turned around in the DV 2022 program. Imagine about 1,000 visas issued during the course of only 1 week, as compared to 208 that were issued during the course of 3 months. Then, as we said in our last video, if things can continue as they happened in the course of last week, then we can expect very high number of interviews in the course of this second half of the fiscal year, and a very good number of visas issued at the end of the program. So at the end of the first week in the second half of the DV 2022 program, there have been 7,996 visas that have been issued. We can just say a total of 8,000 visas have so far been issued. And that number is actually going to rise as we begin the second week in this second half of the 2022 program, considering the numbers that we have in this column. As you can see, this column shows the number of applicants that are ready for interview. From the Africa region, we have 4,287. For Asia, it is 3,036. Europe is 5,138. Oceania is 225, and South America 304, bringing the total to 12,990 applicants that are ready for interview at the beginning of the second week in the second half of the program. And as we said at the beginning of this video, this is the first time that we see very high number of applicants that are ready for interview for a number of weeks running. For a couple of weeks, it was more than 14,000, which is a very good sign that the DV 2022 program is getting on course. So this is what we are currently experiencing in the DV 2022 program. This shows that a number of DV 2022 applicants who have been expecting their interview notifications will actually receive them in the coming days or weeks. So if you are a DV 2022 applicant, keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best as we move forward in this second half of the program year. So that is it for today's discussion. Thanks for watching this video. Now, if you are new to this channel, don't go away without subscribing and click the notification bell, because on this channel, I provide regular updates about the diversity visa program. And I will see you, God willing, in the next one. Goodbye.